FLM, wide open thinking, world-class work, and far-reaching results. Now with locations in Minneapolis, Columbus, Indianapolis, and Washington, D.C. A strategic marketing and communications company dedicated to serving clients who specialize in the business of agriculture and the life of rural communities.
Fresh, juicy peaches, one of the most delicious things about summer. But what if these guys weren't available to pick them? You could say that would be the pits. South Carolina peach farmer Chalmers Carr says without immigration reform and the improvements to the agriculture labor program that would come with that, those peaches will have a tough time making it to your grocery store.
Labor is our number one input expense, by far. 40% of our cost of production is labor, and without labor, we could not harvest these crops. You cannot thin, harvest, pack peaches without manually having hands. There's no machinery that can do this. Same thing with bell pepper or broccoli.
Carr uses the federal program called H2A on Titan Farms. He brings in more than 500 workers from Mexico to trim trees, pick and pack about 2 million boxes of peaches a year, as well as some broccoli and bell peppers. But it's not a simple process.
We have to prove that we have a labor shortage, that there are not U.S. workers able to do the jobs that we have. Then we go through a certification process, the application process to get the workers over here. That can take 45 to 60 days. We put in our application, we go through all the interview process, we get the workers here. Hopefully there's no hiccups along the way.
But Carr says those hiccups definitely happen.
You go through 3 different agencies. First, you start dealing with your state workforce agency. That's on your labor camp certification and everything. If you miss a timeline there, the clock resets. Then you go to the Department of Labor for their certification. If they don't like your application, if there's something wrong with the application, or if they just want to review it, again, clock is reset. Then you go to Department of Homeland Security and all the way over to the State Department to get the visas issued to the workers. They have to go through an interview process in the foreign country. Mexico is our country of origin. So they come from Mexico. They have to go through the consulates there.
That's certainly a big part of why only 4% of agricultural workers use the program. It's just too difficult to maneuver for both employers and workers.
We've had delays in workers probably about every other year. And when you're dealing with time-sensitive, perishable crops, that's the difference in making money and not making money.
That problem is persistent. A national survey of H2A employers shows that on average, workers arrive 22 days after they're needed, thanks to administrative delays causing an economic loss of nearly $320 million for farms that hire H2A workers. But the red tape is only one problem. Only farms with seasonal work are allowed to use the H2A program. Dairies and other farms that need year-round work, like mushroom growers, are out of luck. Those who can make the program work must pay a higher wage than the average for similar jobs in the area, a wage that isn't an accurate reflection of the job or experience needed. Plus, they have to provide free housing.
Immigration reform right now is well overdue. We've needed it for over 12 years. So right now it is paramount for our industry, not just my operation, but for all my peers that actually grow fruits and vegetables in this country.
But you might ask, what about the unemployment rate in this country? Why aren't we hiring Americans to do those jobs? Carr says there's a simple reason.
This is not taking jobs away from Americans, because Americans do not want these jobs.
Even though he pays well above the federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour.
Currently, my wage rate is $9.78 an hour, and I have no U.S. workers on this farm taking these jobs, even though I've advertised. In the last 2 years, we've advertised over 2,000 jobs. We've had about 600 U.S. workers, so about 1/3 of our need come out and actually apply for them, yet we've only had 15 take the job and stay on the job all the way through. So how can I pick these crops with 15 workers?
It's just not possible, and that's the situation for farmers all across the country. So Carr suggests people ask themselves a question.
Your fruit is going to be harvested one way or the other by a foreign national. So what you have to make a decision is, do you want it harvested here in this country with our food safety regulations and our FDA governing how we grow our crops, versus having that foreign national harvest them in another country where you don't have the same food safety protocols? That is not rhetoric, that is truthful.
For the American Farm Bureau, Jonna Miller in Saluda County, South Carolina.